Hello, beautiful beings. Welcome to Soul Shift Messages. If you found your way here, trust there's something in this message for you. Understand this space is for growth, truth, and transformation. We don't bypass here, we don't sugarcoat, and not every message will feel comfortable, but it will be honest. I speak in flow, and sometimes that includes cussing. It's just part of how the messages come through. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and trust your own discernment above all else. Take a deep breath, and let's begin. If you are new here, please know at this time that I post weekly content in 3 parts. Part 1 focuses on what needs to be revealed. Part 2 focuses on what needs to be understood. Tends to be a deeper dive on part 1. And part 3 focuses on what needs to be done. What action do we need to take to embody whatever we happen to be discussing that week? So, depending on when you find this video, actually, I take that back. This is part 3, so you'll find all available links to all the content in the description box below. So I'll go back and I'll update all the other parts with the correct link to part 3. That way, no matter when you come into whatever part, you can always find your way back to the other available content. All right, well, I already, spoiler alert on that, it is part 3, so we're focusing on what needs to be done. And at this time, I'm also going to be reading these messages a little bit more. If the messages reach a certain length, I focus more on reading when I'm recording the message. I don't love it, but again, I have to find that balance between getting the message out and respecting, excuse me, and respecting everyone's time. I just don't want this video to be longer than it needs to be, so we'll work it out. I don't think all the messages are going to be this long. There's just clearly certain topics that we have to cover that require certain breadth and depth, and as the messenger, I'm gonna honor it. So without further ado, I am calling this Stop Revolving Around Others and Come Home to Yourself. If you haven't been following this series, we have been focusing on energetic entanglement with others. So this is what needs to be done. Let's get it. All right. Your emotional, mental, and energetic world has become too intertwined with other people's emotions, needs, instability, expectations, unresolved pain, and internal chaos. The issue is not simply that you care deeply about people. Your emotional boundaries have become too open, too absorbent, too available, and too externally focused for too long. You may resonate with being naturally highly sensitive and emotionally perceptive. You likely absorb atmospheres quickly. Notice emotional shifts immediately. Sense hidden tension or unspoken feelings. Intuitively understand what others are carrying. Emotionally merge with people and environments easily. Feel other people's emotions in your own nervous system. And track emotional energy automatically. Your system is likely designed for deep emotional resonance and intuitive perception. The problem is, over time, understanding became mixed with carrying, fixing, rescuing, carrying others. Emotionally regulating others, stabilizing chaos, emotionally holding people together, protecting others from discomfort, and remaining emotionally available at your own expense. Instead of simply perceiving emotional pain, your nervous system automatically begins managing it. This has created emotional and energetic entanglements. Your attention, emotional energy, nervous system, mental space, and life force become tied into the emotional systems of other people. Your attention has become scattered and overcommitted. Your attention itself functions like life force. Where your attention goes, emotional energy flows, attachment strengthens, emotional cords remain active, nervous system activation continues, and emotional entanglement deepens. Your attention is heavily consumed by monitoring other people emotionally, replaying interactions, mentally revisiting relationships, anticipating conversations, emotionally checking in on people internally, analyzing emotional dynamics, trying to predict outcomes, fantasy dialogues, and unresolved emotional loops. Even when no external interaction is happening, internal emotional engagement continues the connection. Your emotional energy is being drained not only through direct relationships, but through sustained internal attention. What needs to be done? Stop emotionally monitoring people internally. Interrupt replay loops and fantasy conversations. Reduce compulsive checking behaviors. Stop searching for emotional certainty through overthinking. Consciously redirect attention back toward your own life. Treat your attention as sacred and limited. And stop giving emotional energy to dynamics that are no longer healthy. I'm hearing you know exactly which ones are no longer healthy. Your future becomes clearer as your attention returns to yourself. Again, your future becomes clearer as your attention returns to yourself. It is too scattered. Clarity couldn't come through even if it wanted to. You have been living in constant emotional vigilance. Your nervous system is trained to constantly scan for emotional shifts, tension, instability, possible conflict, withdrawal, rejection, and changes in people's moods or energy. Part of you is emotionally on duty all the time. All the time. I'm hearing that's not even a debate. This creates hypervigilance, overanalysis, emotional anticipation, inability to fully relax, chronic emotional alertness, and difficulty emotionally disengaging from others. Your system may have learned that staying emotionally attentive helps preserve safety, connection, belonging, relational stability, and harmony. But this constant outward focus is exhausting your nervous system. And they're telling me that's not an exaggeration. It is absolutely exhausting your nervous system. Not only will your brain not turn off, your body can't turn off. You are burning yourself out on multiple ends. What is it? Burning the candle at both ends? Some shit like that. That's what you're doing. What needs to be done? Stop emotionally scanning everyone around you. Create periods where you are not tracking anyone emotionally. Allow yourself to disengage internally, not just physically. Reduce exposure to emotionally chaotic people. Stop trying to anticipate emotional outcomes and let other people manage their own emotional states. They're already supposed to be doing that. That is their responsibility. Give it back to them. Your nervous system needs rest from relational vigilance. It needs rest. Your nervous system is like your body. The body needs to go to sleep. Your nervous system needs time to rest. It's no different. Everything needs rest. You are exhausted because you have been emotionally overexposed for too long. The exhaustion here goes much deeper than ordinary stress or social fatigue. Your system is overloaded from prolonged exposure to emotional labor, emotional instability, psychic and emotional noise, unresolved emotional cycles, emotional caretaking, constant outward attention, emotional overprocessing, and unresolved attachments. This can create emotional exhaustion, mental fog, nervous system depletion, emotional numbness alternating with overwhelm. Say that again. Emotional numbness alternating with overwhelm. Someone needed to hear that twice. You absolutely know if that's your ass or not. And I don't know whose ancestor I just channeled with that. I'm here. I don't know why I just heard that's for you, buddy. Alrighty, we're going to move on. Inability to focus, emotional crowding, lack of clarity, emotional burnout, and internal restlessness. This isn't simply too much happening. It's too many people inside your emotional space. Too many unresolved emotional loops. Too much emotional access granted to others. And too much emotional responsibility being carried internally. Your system has remained emotionally open long long beyond healthy limits. It was never meant to be like this. What needs to be done? Reduce emotional overstimulation. Stop overextending emotionally. Create periods of intentional solitude. Prioritize nervous system recovery. Reduce emotional input. Stop treating exhaustion as something to push through, and recognize exhaustion as valid information. Your exhaustion is not weakness. It is feedback. I'm hearing some of you, your body is getting really pissed off at you. If you're pushing through and you're fighting exhaustion and you're not actually doing anything to fix that, to address that, for some of you, your body's gonna bite back. And I just heard, I bite hard, bitch. I don't know who that's for, but that's for someone. You are flirting with shit you don't actually want to be dealing with. Because as someone who's had their body be like, nope, and just absolutely hit the stop button, I'm telling you, don't do that. It's all fun and games until you're forced to actually sit your ass down. That was a level of burnout that I didn't know was physically possible. But you know what? I pulled my shit together and I moved through it. So all I'm saying is sit your ass down before you're forced to do it. It's better, it's peaceful, it goes smoother. Your sensitivity has been mistaken for unlimited capacity. I'm hearing no one has unlimited capacity. That's an illusion. For some people, that's a delusion. You can Google that. Because you can understand people deeply, hold emotional complexity well, and remain compassionate under pressure, you may unconsciously assume you are supposed to continue carrying difficult emotional situations longer than other people would. But your ability to perceive pain does not mean you are meant to absorb it indefinitely. And I am really getting a feeling of disgust with that. That is not sitting well with someone on the other side. Your empathy became interpreted internally as responsibility. And that was never yours to carry. This likely caused you to stay too long in draining situations, tolerate imbalance too long, continue understanding after exhaustion already appeared, overextend compassion past healthy limits, and keep emotional doors open because you can still feel someone emotionally. What needs to be done? Stop using empathy as a reason to override your limits. Stop equating emotional endurance with spiritual strength. Stop assuming understanding requires continued access. Allow exhaustion to become a stopping point instead of a challenge to overcome. And protect your sensitivity instead of proving how much it can survive. Being capable of carrying something does not mean you should continue carrying it. Now I'm just feeling like this plea from the ancestors to put this shit down. They're just saying we had to carry this in our lifetimes. You don't have to. I'm hearing you could put this down for all of us. Some of you are the generational curse breakers, and you are meant to break this. There is this loving plea from loved ones on the other side to be brave and do this. They're with you. But they need you to be strong. They need you to be brave. You don't have to continue this. There's a lot of love and there's a lot of support. I'm also hearing a lot of protection. If you're willing to put this down, they're still there no matter what, but they're saying you're going to feel warmth in your heart space, if that's for you. Someone's having a hard time opening up their heart chakra because of all the pain from carrying this. And they want you to know that's them. If you're feeling that warmth in your heart space, that's your ancestors. And they're letting you know they're here. And if you're willing to step forward with this, I'm here and I got you back. They're funny. I got you back and your front. I got all sides. The ancestors are not always serious. I had a friend's ancestor tell me I have to learn to twerk. You heard that right, twerk. So it gets interesting. Alrighty. Your openness has turned into emotional and energetic leakage. All right. Give me a sec. Let me drink some water because this section is actually no joke. Give me a second. Alrighty. Let me do that again. Your openness has turned into emotional and energetic leakage. Your emotional openness is naturally powerful. They don't want you to look at this as a burden. It is not. I'm hearing it's a gift, and with all gifts, you have to learn how to manage it. I don't necessarily mean full-blown control it. Manage it. Work with it. All right? People likely feel emotionally safe around you, deeply understood, calmer in your presence, emotionally regulated by your energy, and emotionally seen in ways they do not experience elsewhere. I said in an earlier video, that experience is rare. You don't think it's rare because you do this naturally. But for people on the receiving end, this shit's rare. They want me to reiterate that. So because of this, people attach to you very easily. People are not necessarily intentionally harmful, but your openness without structure becomes leakage. Let me explain this a little bit. Think of it this way. It's kind of like, think about like putting, because really what you want with this is containment. And I don't mean like a whole fucking brick wall, keep everything out type of shit. That's not what this is about, and that's also not healthy. It's talking about, being selective with what can come in and what you keep out. So the way to think of it is right now, everything is going outward. So think about, it's basically like with the leakage, think about like pouring water into a strainer or a colander, right? It's got holes fucking everywhere. It can't hold water to save its life. That shit leaks out of all the holes. That's kind of what you're like right now. All your shit goes outward. There is very little containment to actually hold that in check. All right. So you right now are more like a colander. Your energy is like the water. That shit just falls right out. Very little can be contained. Why? Because you need some boundaries, but we'll get into that. And basically, you need to start putting shit in place that plugs up those holes. You need that structure so that the things you want to come in can find their way in through the channels that you allow it, and the shit that really should never be in there gets turned away. I don't know if that helped or not, but that's really all they're showing me. Yeah, it's just selectively porous. You want to pick what comes through. And if you decide something should not be coming through, put the boundaries up to keep it out. That's really what it is. But yeah, I'm hearing some of you energetically are leaking energy outward like a sieve. I don't know who that's for, but that's for someone. All right, here we go. Without boundaries, your emotional system becomes over-accessible. People begin leaning on your nervous system. Your emotional steadiness becomes used for regulation. Emotional labor becomes expected, and your emotional space becomes overcrowded. Why? Because you don't have boundaries in place. You don't have that structure to push the shit out that shouldn't even be in there. You now need stronger emotional containment, greater selectivity, more emotional privacy, slower intimacy, and more intentional access control. And more intentional access control. Again, that's what do you allow in and what needs to stay the fuck out. Because there are absolutely things that need to stay the fuck out. What needs to be done? Stop emotionally exposing yourself too quickly. Stop granting deep emotional access before trust is earned. Become more selective about who receives your emotional depth. Allow intimacy to develop slowly and protect your inner world instead of automatically sharing it. Privacy is not dishonesty. Privacy is protection. Protect your energy. Protect your peace. You have been living inside a healer or emotional caretaker identity. You naturally move into roles such as healer, stabilizer, emotional caretaker, mediator, grounding presence, emotional processor, teacher, or safe emotional container. Others may unconsciously project onto you wisdom, emotional safety, steadiness, healing, emotional strength, and guidance. Many people likely became attached not only to you as a person, but to the emotional regulation they receive from you, the stability you provide, emotional processing you help them do, and the safety your presence creates. This has become unsustainable because too much of your identity became tied to helping, stabilizing, remaining emotionally available, preserving harmony, and carrying emotional weight for others. These are signs that being needed became connected to your sense of worth. You may unconsciously feel more valuable when helping, rescuing, emotionally supporting, carrying difficult situations, or overfunctioning during instability. This can create a hidden fear. If I stop giving this much, will people still value or love me? And I'm hearing the answer is a resounding yes for the people who are meant to be in your life. And only for those people. Babies, I'm hearing you are a gift. You are a gift, and you should be treated as one. I'm just hearing these entitled motherfuckers gotta go. Anyone who answers no to that fear and starts leaving your life, I'm just hearing entitled motherfuckers, entitled motherfuckers. I am telling you, the ancestors are ready to start whooping asses. And they do not want you near these people when that shit happens. Yep. All right. What needs to be done? Separate your worth from your usefulness. Stop earning your connection through exhaustion. I'm here to knock that shit off. Allow yourself to exist without constantly helping. Stop overfunctioning emotionally. Reconnect with your identity outside of caretaking and let relationships become mutual instead of one-sided. Your value does not depend on how much emotional weight you can carry. You're supposed to be putting this shit down. Many relationships have been structurally imbalanced from the beginning. Many emotional dynamics are built around imbalance. I'm hearing there is no rebalancing the imbalance if even one person is intent on keeping imbalance. You need everyone involved to want to rebalance, imbalance, or that shit's just imbalanced. I'm just hearing that's basic facts. Some of you are trying to rebalance, imbalance stuff with people who benefit from your imbalance. They have no incentive to change it. And you're just pouring more of your energy into them. I'm just hearing stop that. I'm hearing let lost causes go. You have given emotional labor, patience, regulation, stability, insight, compassion, attention, and nervous system energy without receiving equal replenishment. Some relationships may have formed around emotional dependency, one-sided vulnerability, uneven emotional labor, repeated crisis and repair cycles, and instability creating emotional intensity. You may have mistaken intensity for depth, emotional need for closeness, being needed for being loved, and emotional dependency for significance. Some people may have bonded with you primarily because you tolerated more than others would, listened deeply, remained emotionally available longer than was healthy, and you stabilized emotional instability for them. What needs to be done? Stop romanticizing unhealthy dynamics. Stop romanticizing emotionally unstable dynamics. Prioritize consistency over intensity. Stop confusing emotional chaos with emotional depth. Evaluate relationships based on reciprocity, not emotional intensity. And choose relationships that create calm, stability, and mutual support. Healthy relationships should nourish you, not consume you, not deplete you. Your ancestors want to bring in these relationships that create calm, stability, and mutual support. They need your help clearing out. You have to make room for this. All right? Help your ancestors, especially if this series has been resonating with you. All right. You are carrying emotional responsibility that does not belong to you. They're saying you heard that right. You take responsibility for other people's healing, emotional outcomes, maintaining peace, preventing discomfort, helping others evolve, whether others feel abandoned, and whether others become emotionally stable. But many of these responsibilities are not yours. They were never yours. Everyone is responsible for handling and stabilizing themselves. That's just how it is. Everyone is genuinely responsible for themselves, emotionally, energetically, all of it. That's how it's supposed to be. I'm here and get in line and act accordingly. And they want to be clear. You can support people, love people, encourage people, and care deeply. This is not about closing up your heart space. This is not about turning cold. This is not turning your back on the world. Love is probably the most powerful emotion on this planet. You can move mountains with genuine, unconditional love, and this shit is not it. All right, so they're not saying turn that shit off, close your heart off, nothing matters. None, fuck that. They're not saying that at all. But you cannot heal people for them. You cannot emotionally regulate them forever. You cannot carry their growth process. You cannot save them from discomfort or prevent all pain. Trying to carry responsibility for another person's inner life traps you in emotional and energetic entanglement. You have to put that down, or you will never be emotionally or energetically sovereign. And I'm hearing some of you are already so fucking tired. It is your choice. But if you are going to try to carry this responsibility for others, you're never getting out of that. You can't do both. You have to pick a side. Get in line and act accordingly. What needs to be done? Stop emotionally over-parenting others. Allow people to carry their own emotional weight. Stop rescuing people from consequence. Stop interrupting other people's growth through overhelping. Allow discomfort to exist without immediately fixing it. And release responsibility for other people's emotional evolution. Baby, some people are going to hit their fuck around and find out season and have their crash outs, and you are supposed to let them. I'm hearing these are overdue lessons they need to learn, and you need to get out of the way. Because if you stay in there, basically they're trying to give you space to get out, so when these lessons come in, you don't get hit. If some of you do not get out of the way in a timely manner, you're going to get some of the pain that these people are actually supposed to take all on their own. Why? Because you just won't get out of the way. And at some point, these lessons just have to come through. All right? Some people are absolutely going to get their lessons. And your guidance is get out of the way, stay out of the way. Sometimes we have to go through hard things and learn those lessons just so that when we get to the other side, we go, I am never fucking doing that again. Never again. For some people, it's their season. It does not need to be yours. Compassion does not require emotional overfunctioning. You are not here to save others. Drop that savior complex. That is not yours. That is that self-sacrificial programming shit that runs fucking rampant here. And annoys the shit out of me because it's not divine. You were never meant to do that. It's a program that runs here. And the good news is when you clock that shit, you can deprogram it. All right? You also weren't put here to suffer, to keep others afloat. Old conditioning is reinforcing the pattern. There are deep beliefs underneath these dynamics, such as compassion means endurance, withdrawing is selfish, good people remain available, love means emotional access, I should not disappoint people, if I understand someone, I should continue helping. And other people's needs matter more than my exhaustion. These beliefs trained you to override your limits. You may unconsciously associate boundaries with rejection, distance with cruelty, rest with selfishness, and self-protection with guilt. What needs to be done? Challenge beliefs that glorify self-sacrifice is bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Challenge beliefs that glorify self-sacrifice every fucking time. Stop treating exhaustion as moral failure. Stop treating exhaustion as moral failure. Stop viewing boundaries as cruelty. Allow your needs to matter equally. Accept that self-protection is healthy. And stop measuring goodness by emotional availability. You can be a good person and protect your peace. I would argue you're a better person because you're protecting your peace. That way, if people do need help and you actually feel called to help them, that you can actually show up appropriately. All right? Your healing requires rewriting these internal rules. They're not accurate. They don't need to stay. Like any program, you can deprogram and rewrite it with something healthier that actually serves your greatest and highest good. Guilt. Guilt is one of the main forces keeping you stuck. Guilt is one of the strongest emotional hooks maintaining unhealthy attachment. You may feel guilty for withdrawing, protecting your energy, disappointing people, becoming less emotionally available, ending access, prioritizing yourself, and refusing emotional labor. This is where the ancestors want you to be strong, babies. Your peace and your health is more important than any amount of guilt this world tries to put on you for prioritizing yourself and picking a healthier way of relating to others. And I know, because I had to push through this guilt myself, you can overcome this. You absolutely can. And once you get used to doing this a certain amount of times, it just becomes second nature. You'd be surprised how fast your yes and your no come to you, especially with things you never thought you'd say no to. You can change it. You absolutely can. So this can create cycles where you become overwhelmed. You pull away temporarily. Guilt appears. You reopen access, and exhaustion returns. And that's one of the cycles they want you to break. The exhaustion is feedback. Anything that actually pours back into you in a reciprocal manner would never force you into exhaustion. That's the imbalance. What needs to be done? Stop interpreting guilt as proof you are wrong. Accept that some people will dislike your boundaries. Some people will really dislike your boundaries. That doesn't mean they're wrong. In fact, I started to realize at one point that the more I kind of pissed people off, the more I was actually on the right track with them boundaries. When you got entitled motherfuckers, any type of boundary can be interpreted as betrayal. But that's not your weight to carry. That's not your interpretation. That's also not your intent, unless it is. Do you? But that wasn't my intent when I put them in place. But yeah, I had some very interesting reactions, and I was like, you know what? I'm on my shit. I'm gonna stay right here. So Stop reopening access out of guilt. Tolerate temporary discomfort during separation and allow yourself to disappoint people when necessary. Other people's disappointment is not evidence of cruelty. You were not put here to please the world. You cannot be your true, authentic self and appease everyone. Disappointment is inevitable. Stay true to yourself. Stay true to what you know is right, and make space for that authentic version of you to come through. You are carrying too many unfinished emotional attachments. Your emotional space is crowded not only by current relationships, but by unresolved residue from past ones. You may still carry old grief, unresolved attachment, emotional disappointment, unfinished emotional conversations, emotional memories, lingering resentment, and fixation on what could have been. This creates emotional overcrowding. What needs to be done? Consciously release old emotional attachments. Stop replaying unresolved relationships. Grieve fully instead of remaining emotionally suspended. Some of you are trying to think through emotions. You need to feel it. You cannot think your way through an emotion. The emotion is not actually living in the mind. It's in the body, babies. It's in the body. You gotta feel that shit to allow that somatic release from the body. All right. Accept unresolved endings. Withdraw emotional attention from the past and stop feeding emotional loops through continued mental engagement. Not every emotional situation requires complete intellectual resolution before release is possible. Some of you have some very disrespectful motherfuckers in your life, and I'm hearing the closure should be in the repeated disrespect and disregard they keep showing you. I'm hearing I said what I said and I meant it. I don't know who that's for, but that came through very loud. Some connections need full closure, not ongoing management. I'm hearing whatever comes to mind while you listen to this is what is supposed to be coming up. I'm hearing don't force it, just let it come to mind naturally. At least one emotional dynamic has exceeded healthy endurance. Something now requires full closure, complete disengagement, and sustained separation rather than partial distance, repeated reopening, emotional ambiguity, and ongoing emotional access. What needs to be done? Stop reopening emotionally draining dynamics. Stop maintaining emotional access just in case. Stop emotionally revisiting relationships that already exhaust you. Allow endings to become complete. And recognize when emotional management is prolonging suffering. And I'm hearing some of you are absolutely suffering. Do not lie to yourself. Some relationships heal through understanding. Others heal through ending. And I'm hearing if I'm just hearing that hit you full in the chest. Others heal through ending. There's no understanding. It's just letting it go because it's done. You need to learn to leave earlier. Your system likely recognizes emotional imbalance earlier than you allow yourself to act on it. You may stay too long because you hope things will improve. You understand someone's pain. You keep giving additional chances and you wait for undeniable proof before acting. What needs to be done? Trust early discomfort. Act on patterns sooner. Stop waiting for severe exhaustion before creating distance. Reduce access at the first signs of repeated imbalance. And stop overriding your body's warnings. Your body notices unhealthy dynamics before your mind accepts them. Baby, some of you need to accept and recognize the fact that you have to shift from leading with the mind to leading with the body. That is just the undeniable shift the collective is going through at this time. Trying to think everything through and ignoring the body is going to start backfiring harder and harder. Trust your body and accept the fact that your mind may be slower to catch up. That does not mean your body is wrong. Don't let your mind talk you out of shit. Your body already knows to be true. Don't do that. You need simpler, stronger boundaries. You may over-explain your boundaries because you feel responsible for making them emotionally comfortable for others. This creates over-clarifying, emotional justification, negotiation, and softening limits repeatedly. What needs to be done? Make boundaries simpler. Stop defending your need for space. Allow no, literally just no, to remain complete. No is a full fucking sentence, and you can stop there. And some of you should stop at no. I don't know who that's for, but I heard it clear as day. No is a complete sentence. Some of you need to stop at no. Stop negotiating boundaries that protect your nervous system. Reduce emotional explanation. And stop prioritizing other people's comfort over your own stability. Babies, you have to take care of yourself first before you can help others. People, it may not be a legitimate reason why people transition out of this experience. All right. No coroner is going to be like someone died of people pleasing, but that shit absolutely sucks the life out of people. All right? You have to put yourself first. You just have to. I don't know why this is coming through, but some of you need to really think about, some of you need to look at your family medical history, not from a medical standpoint, but look at people who had chronic diseases and see if they were heavily into people pleasing or overgiving and overextending. There is an energy, again, the medical, I'm not a doctor, and the medical community probably won't agree with me, but I have been through things energetically, and I'm not going to deny my truth. You may start seeing, you might see correlations between people having diseases or conditions manifest physically, and you'll see some of those patterns that they held, that they maintained. That's for someone. I'm hearing anxiety. Like if anxiety ran into your family, part of it is this. You're too energetically porous. I'm hearing, for some of you, that's not your anxiety you're feeling. For some of you, that is not completely your anxiety. So if you've been feeling very anxious, you need to send people's shit back to them. And you need to close off your energy to that. There's something to that. All right, let me get back to it. Boundaries become weaker when endlessly emotionally processed. Set them once, act accordingly. If people keep stepping on your boundaries, push their ass back. If they act up again, I'm here and cut their whole ass off. I trust you to handle your situations appropriately, but that's your guidance. All right? I get the messages. I pass them on. All right? Last thing I want is pissed off ancestors at me on the other side, especially when they're not mine. Your nervous system needs stability, predictability, and physical grounding. Your nervous system is overstretched from prolonged emotional unpredictability and emotional intensity. Relationships involving inconsistency, emotional volatility, closeness followed by withdrawal, and confusion mixed with intensity can become addictive to the nervous system. And I'm hearing like a drug. The uncertainty itself strengthens attachment. You have to break that cycle. Your nervous system learned this. You can teach it something else. What needs to be done? Stop romanticizing emotionally inconsistent dynamics. Say it again. Stop romanticizing emotionally inconsistent dynamics. Prioritize calm over intensity. Choose consistency over emotional highs and lows. Reduce exposure to emotionally chaotic environments. Create stable daily routines. Prioritize sleep, nourishment, movement, hydration, and sensory calm. Your body is hopped up on some fucked up shit. Give it calm. Teach it a new stable baseline. That is what it needs. And reconnect with your body regularly. If you need to, go to the breath. All right? Some of you have been ignoring your body for a long time. You have to rebuild trust and connection with it. It is trying desperately to talk to you, to tell you what it needs. Reconnect with the body. You cannot be in this experience without a body. Ask the dead. They'll tell you. All right? You need your body to be in this experience. Partner with it as opposed to fighting it. All right? Your nervous system heals through steadiness, not emotional stimulation. Your healing requires rebuilding a relationship with yourself. Too much of your emotional energy has been organized around other people. Your inner world may revolve around relationship management, emotional analysis, emotional caretaking, anticipating interactions, and processing others. As a result, your relationship with yourself may have weakened. What needs to be done? Reconnect with your own desires and goals. Develop interests unrelated to relationships. Create joy separate from emotional intensity. Spend time alone intentionally. Rebuild routines centered around your own life. And rediscover who you are outside of helping others. Your energy needs to become rooted, babies, inside your own life again. Say it again. Your energy needs to become rooted inside your own life again. Your future is not isolation, it's discernment. This message is not close your heart. It's become more discerning about where your emotional energy goes. You are not being guided toward emotional coldness, distrust, isolation, or shutting down your sensitivity. You are being guided toward selective openness, earned intimacy, reciprocal relationships, emotionally mature connection, grounded compassion, stable relationships, emotional and energetic sovereignty, and self-respect within connection. The deeper transformation is learning compassion without depletion, empathy without absorption, connection without self-erasure, love without emotional fusion, and support without abandoning yourself. Your healing begins the moment your energy stops revolving around everyone else and begins returning fully to you, where it belongs, where it always should have been. All right, anything else? Okay, they're saying that's complete. So I am gonna end that message there. So this is part 3. I will update all the links to all the other sections. That way, all available content will be found in the description boxes. I will be back next week. The topic will be internal gridlock. It's essentially where your inner system loses harmony. I'm also hearing loses balance and starts fighting itself. Think of that like an internal war. You know, you've got pieces of you that are fighting each other. So it's important to resolve that as well. So if that resonates with you, feel free to tune in on Sunday. I'll be discussing that. If not, that's totally fine. Take care of yourselves, beautiful beings. And until next time, bye.